Alright, what we're working on here today is making earrings. We're going to eventually make two kinds of earrings. This is a drop earring. We're going to make the pair for this one first. And then we're going to make a beaded feather earring, somewhat like this one, but not exactly like this one. We're going to start with the drop earring because there's a technique that's used to form the foundation, the starting point for each of these earrings, but it's a little bit easier to see with the drop earring. So we're going to do that one first, and then in future videos we'll move on to the beaded feather earring. Alright, I have beaded up a beading needle. I'm going to use a beading needle because of the length of these metal tubes. I prefer to work with a sharps needle most of the time. But in this case I've already found out experientially that I need a longer needle, so we're going to use a beading needle. We're going to start with a piece of thread that's about 3 feet long. I use thread that's about 3 feet long because that's about the length of my reach, and consequently I don't want to have a thread that's any longer than that. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to wind the thread around one of the fingers of my left hand so that I have something to pull against. And we're going to put each of these tubes onto the thread, the needle and the thread. And then run them right up against my finger and try to keep it as taut as possible. You bring the needle back through the tube closest to you, I guess is the best way to say it. I never can keep them under control. There we go. And then we're going to do the same for each successive tube. And what this will do is it will pull the tubes into a what I call panpipe configuration, which is they'll be side by side as so. And this is how we form the foundation for our earring. Wow, I got so close I can't even get the needle into the tubes. How do you like that? The fifth one. Okay, so now it looks like a little pack of dynamite, but it's not really. Just have to get it to uncoil. So this is what it looks like when you're finished. And what we're going to do to reinforce the foundation, if you will, is we're going to run the needle back through each tube successively to kind of hold them together. It provides the stability for the foundation. It keeps it from spreading apart. Fortunately for once, this thing didn't try to do that to me, I don't think. It looks like everything's still tight together. But you know, you can see a little bit of separation there, but it's not so bad. But these are glass tubes, so you have to be careful about pulling too hard on the thread or you will cut it, because they glass has sharp edges. A lot of beads and things have nice, smooth, round edges, but these tubes, the ends are sharp, and so it's very easy to cut them. Cut the thread, that is. Alright, so we have our foundation laid, and we're going to start doing what is called the brick stitch. We're using these nice white pearly beads. Alright, to do the brick stitch, you bring the needle through the threads that are linking the first two of the glass tubes. And then you go back through the bead that you just pulled on, and that lays it down on top of that joint, sort of like a brick in a wall, which is why it's called the brick stitch. And you repeat that. Because there were 5 tubes, there's going to be 4 beads in this bottom row. This is part of the reason why you usually would use more tubes than 5 to start with. This isn't going to make for a very large top of the earring, but as I said, we have a definite constraint, and consequently we have no choice but to deal with it and make the best of it. Back through the bead. You see how the beads are laying down, not unlike bricks on a wall. And here's the 4th bead. And then you start back the other way. So you'll make a row of 3 beads. I usually turn the work over whenever I start a new row, just that I'm working sort of from top to bottom. I find that it's just easier for me to do it that way. Yep, that's it. Okay. A little perspective issue there. Wasn't sure that I was going to get the bead tied down the right way, but it is. If you've ever done any gourd stitch type beading, what I'm referring to as the brick stitch here is also called the Comanche stitch, and I use it a lot when I'm beading on gourds and sticks and things like that, round things, particularly things that are likely to change size. As a gourd is a globe, and so it gets bigger and smaller. The Comanche stitch is a good choice for that. I hope in future videos to be doing some of that. Perhaps you've already done some of that. You already know what I'm talking about. Anyway. Okay. I dropped the thread that was around my finger because it was starting to get in my way. That extra thread is sticking out the bottom end of the tubes, and we probably will end up using them when we go to put the dangly part on, just because we're going to run out of thread before we get all the dangles done with this particular piece of thread. We'll probably get to start, but we won't get to finish. Yeah, there we go. Bead number 1, bead number 2, and at this point we're already ready to put on the ear wire. And that looks like this. We get 6 beads. I'm going to use a loop of 6 beads to put the ear wire on. Oops, my bad. 3 beads, then the ear wire. And 3 more beads. Hopefully this will all work out. Okay, so we've picked up those beads. Looks like somehow some of them pulled through the ear wire. We'll have to work on that. But it is a loop, so you come back through the other bead in the row of 2 there. And we're gonna. All right. The wire's less than cooperative. Anyway, we're going to go back up through our beads again. So you come over to the bead where the loop started, and we're just going to work our way up through the beads again. And back down again. And we're going to finish by running the needle down through the outside diagonal of beads. And down through the outside glass tube. And that completes the top of the earring. We'll continue in the next video. So, thank you for watching. Please like it. Like my channel if you really like what I'm doing here and want to see more. And we'll see you a little further down the path.